Hello friends, welcome to my channel. This is Sharan. In this video tutorial, I will explain in Django web applications how to add the multiple submit buttons on a single view page, which is a single HTML pages. And here we got our final output. Notice the header tags, below that the student table and the employee table. In the student table, let's enter the student name is Charan. Before insert the student record, let's check the students table. Right now this student table contains 0 objects, 0 values. Let's insert this Charan, insert student record. Notice here the student record is inserted successfully. Click OK. Now let's check. I'm reloading this browser. Reload. So here we got one student object which is Charan. Now again switch back to the database. Now if I browse this employees table, this employees table contains 0 records. Now let's enter the employee name. They enter the employee name. I'm adding Peter. Insert employee record. See here the employee record is inserted successfully. Click OK. Now let's check the output in the browser database. I'm reloading the browser. And here the employee object is 1. Let's browse the employee object which is a Peter. See here the Peter. That's it. We have implemented the multiple submit buttons on a single view page in Django applications. If you are a first time visitor to my channel, please subscribe to get the latest updates. Before creating a new Django web application, first we'll create a new project folder in local disk D drive. Right click the mouse. I'm selecting new, then I'm selecting the folder option. I'm giving the folder name is multiple submit button. Enter. Let's browse this folder. Right now this folder is totally empty. Let's create a new Django web application in this folder. I'm using Visual Studio Code to create a new Django web application, but before that we'll add the project folder which we have created in the local disk D drive. Go to File, then select Open Folder. In the local disk D drive, let's select the multiple submit button, click Select Folder. And here we got our multiple submit button. The folder is added to our Visual Studio Explorer panel. At the right side we got the welcome page. Let's close this welcome page. Now let's create a new Django web application in this folder. For that, go to View and select Terminal. And here we got our terminal, which is nothing but a command prompt. And if you notice the command prompt, the URL is the multiple submit buttons, which is our folder name, which I have created in this local disk D drive. Now to create a Django web applications, add Django -admin start project multiple buttons, button, enter. MUL button is my application name. And if you notice the MUL button, the application is successfully added to our project folder. Now let's add CD, our application name, click enter. Now before adding the multiple button submit functionality, let's check the output. This Django application is working or not on the browser. So Python manage.py run server, enter. And if you notice, we have no issues found in our application, and below that we got this web URL link. Control plus mouse click, to browse our application. And here we got the default output of our Django web application project. Now let's visit the admin page, enter, and notice when I visit the admin page, it prompts with the username and password. Now let's create a new super user to log into the Django administration page. Again, switch back to the coding part in the terminal, Ctrl+C. Let's exit from the server. Now Python manage.py. Before creating a super user, if you notice, first time when I run the server, I got some 15 unapplied migrations. We got some small warnings, so we need to apply these migrations. So we have to run this command, python manage.py.migrate. So let's add this one. See, once I applied all the migrations to our project, now let's create a super user. To create a super user, python manage.py, create super user, enter. And notice here, once I create a super user, it prompts with the username. The username I'm adding Charan. The email ID is charan@yahoo.com, enter. And the password also I'm adding Charan and Charan. And if you notice here, the password is too similar to the email address. Just for the demo purpose, I have added very weak password. So I want to bypass this validation, the password validation. Click Y for exit. And now here, notice the super user created successfully. Let's log in with our credentials. Before that, we have to run our server. Run server. And now once we run the server, we don't have any issues, and also it's not prompting any migrations warning here. So I can switch back to the browser and the admin page. Let's add the username is Charan and the password, login. And here we are successfully logged into our administration Django administration page. You notice here the welcome Charan. Now let's create a table objects in this database. Again, switch back to the coding part, Ctrl+C. Now to create a table objects, we require the models in our application. So let me expand this application. Right click the mouse, click new folder. First we'll add the templates folder, templates. And in this templates folder, I am adding the HTML pages. I click the mouse, click new file, index.html. And here we got our index.html. Now let's add the view pages in our project subfolder. Right click the project subfolder, click new file, view the models.py, enter. And here we got our models.py page. This models.py contains the class and the properties. So before that, let's import the necessary class name from django.db import. I'm importing the models class. After that, let's define a class. I'm creating two classes in this models. So the first class name is the student, which is our table name, models.model. Here I miss capital model. After that, column. Let's define the properties, which are the column names. st name is equals to models dot char field, the data type here, and max underscore length is equals to 100. Just for the demo purpose, I am adding only one column, student name. Next, let's define another class, which is the employee class. Employee models dot model colon So emp name, instead of writing this same line, just copy this part and paste here. That's it. We have created the classes and the properties in this models class. Let's save this file, save all. After that, we need to register these models into our site admin page. So we require the admin page, click new file, admin.py, enter, and here we got the admin page. Now in this admin page, I want to register the both class names in the models. So before that, we require the necessary classes from Django dot import some Django.contrib, then import admin class. After that, we require from this models class, this models page is inside our application. So I'm adding our application name dot models import. Now if you notice here in this models page, I have two classes. So let's copy the first class, which is a student, and this is a student table also, the table name also student only, and the employee class, the employee table. After that, admin dot site dot register, and that I'm registering the class name, the model name, and the second model is the employee. Copy this one, employee object. Now after registering, after adding these two classes in this register, let's save this file, save all. Now the most important step, we need to configure the settings.py. Come to the bottom, the settings.py, we need to install our application name. So between single quotes, I'm adding mul button. I'm adding my application name, the project name, in this install underscore apps. And also in the template section, when we want to render our HTML pages, we need to join our templates folder with the base directory. So os.path.join method. In this join method, I'm adding the base directory, comma, templates. Let's save this file. After saving the settings.py, now what I'm doing, let's run the server. And after I execute this statement, after I run the server, we don't have any issues. Now notice when I reload this admin page, notice here we got this employees and student objects are added successfully to our db.sqlite3 database. Now notice when I want to browse this employees, see here I got some warning here, no such table. So there is no table for that table object. So I can switch back to the coding part, Control C. To create a table, Python manage.py, migrate, I want to migrate double hyphen run hyphen, I'm syncing database. Now let's run. And notice here, when I run this command, it's creating the tables, which is the student and employee table with our project name. This is our project name, and the student and employees are the class names. Now let's run the server. Now let's reload the browser now. When I reload the browser, see here the table object is created successfully. This is the employee table. Go to a project database. Now when I want to browse the students, So here we got the student. Now right now there are 0 students and 0 employees in both tables. So both table contains 0 values. Let's insert the employee name in this employees table and in the student table also. Again switch back to the coding part, Control C, come out from the server, and now we require the views page. To write the coding part, right click the subfolder, click new file, the file name is views.py, enter. Here we got our views.py. So in this views.py, first let's import the necessary classes from Django.shortcuts. Import the first class name. I want to import the render class. This render class is helpful, and this render class, when we want to render our HTML pages in the browser, we require this render class. Then we require the class names from the models. So instead of writing the same command, same line, I am adding here. After that, let's declare a function. The function name is save emp st student is a function name. Request colon if request dot, I want to post the data to save the details. So request dot method double equals to post is a capital letters colon if request dot get dot, not get, here the post dot get the values we are getting from the text box control. So right now at this moment I am leaving blank colon, then let's declare a variable save. First I am adding the emp, first I am adding the student. So st is equals to student table, I am adding the student class name here, student. Now save st dot, in the models the property name student name, copy this one and paste here, is equals to, this is the value I want to store. Then we'll save the data, save method. After that, once I save this record, I want to return this function, return a render request. I am requesting the page name is a index.html. This page I want to return. After that, again copy this part, I am pasting here. Instead of student class, I am adding the employee. Here save the object name emp, copy this one, save emp. The column name, the property name is the emp name, copy this one and paste here, save emp dot save. After that we return the HTML. Now let's add the else part. I am adding the else part for this if condition. Done. And then return render request index.html. That's it. Let's save this file. Now we require the designing part in the index.html. Doc type, I'm closing the HTML tag. Inside the HTML, I'm adding the header section. I'm adding the title. In the title, how to add multiple submit button. And then let's add the body tag. Inside the body tag, I'm adding the center tag. Inside the center tag, I'm adding the headings. Just copy this part. How to add multiple submit button. Copy this one and paste here. Then in the H4 Django db.sqlite 3 web tutorials, add the horizontal line. After the horizontal line, I'm adding the table element. Inside this table element, I'm declaring a border is equals to 1. We have to put this between double quotes. Then tr, the table headers. In the table headers, first one is a student, then tr. Let's add this column span is equals to 3. Table headers td, student name, which is the label here. The next td is the text box control. Input type is equals to text. Placeholder student name, and here the most important point is the name attribute. In this name attribute, I am adding the model name, st name. Copy this one and paste here, and also switch to the views page. Let's add that name property value here, student name. Then we require one button control. So after the table, I am adding the submit button. Input type is equals to submit, and the value is equals to insert student record. Then on click event, I'm adding one small JavaScript snippet. Return alert message between single quotes, student record is inserted successfully. I'm closing the parenthesis. Let's close the button control. Now in the table, I'm adding the form tag. Form method is equals to post. Copy this one, and I'm closing this form tag after the submit button control. Then this is very most important step in Django applications. When we are posting the data, we need to add this command csrf underscore token. This line csrf underscore token, it protects our data when we are from the hackers. So make sure add this line, otherwise you'll get an error. This is our first student values we are inserting. Now we require another button for the employee. So again, from form to closing form tag, copy that one. I'm adding here the h4 tag, employee tab, employee horizontal line, so the table header is the employee, and here I am changing the name. If you check in the models, I need to copy this emp name, paste here, and also in the views also the get function, and here also. Let's save this file. Save all. Again switch back to the index.html. Here the placeholder is the employee name. Insert employee. Wherever student, just replace with the employee. And here also employee name, the label. That's it. In a single HTML page, we have added two button controls, and these two button controls are operating with a single view page. See, single view page. Let's save this file. Save all. Now we require the URLs. Let's configure our URLs pattern also. From dot import views, path, single quotes, views dot. Let's add our function name in the views, which is a save empst. Copy that one, and not here is the URLs. Paste here. That's it. Let's save all the files. Save all. Now it's time to check the final results. Let's run the server. See, after run the server, we don't have any issues. Let's Control plus mouse click to run our application. And here we got our final output. Notice the header tags, below that the student table and the employee table. In the student table, let's enter the student name is Charan. Before insert the student record, let's check the students table. Right now this student table contains 0 objects, 0 values. Let's insert this Charan, insert student record. Notice here the student record is inserted successfully. Click OK. Now let's check. I'm reloading this browser. Reload. So here we got one student object, which is Charan. Now again switch back to the database. Now if I browse this employees table, this employees table contains 0 records. Now let's enter the employee name. They enter the employee name. I'm adding Peter. Insert employee record. So here the employee record is inserted successfully. Click OK. Now let's check the output in the browser database. I'm reloading the browser. And here the employee object is 1. Let's browse the employee object, which is a Peter. See here the Peter. That's it. We have implemented the multiple submit buttons on a single view page in Django applications.